Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and we have another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for you on this very special day. Go ahead and check out that date, 2/2/2022. Crazy, crazy date. I guess the next time that we see something as special as this, well, that's going to be in approximately 11 years and 1 month. So let's enjoy it while we can. Happy Groundhog Day for those of you that do that sort of thing as well. Don't know if good old Phil actually saw his shadow at this particular time of this recording, but maybe you guys can go ahead and throw in a little comment. Will we be getting more winter, or is it going to be an early spring? We shall see. I'm sure a lot of you on the East Coast are trying to dig out of a little bit of a mess still, so hopefully you guys are being safe and all that great stuff. But yeah, we are back to take a look at a crop of just really notable errors and varieties, all of which have sold on eBay within the last 24 to 48 hours. As you guys know, I love doing these videos every single week. I do them twice a week, and it's more than just a market barometer check, right? It really is. There needs to be some sort of comprehensive, just overall look of how much some of the minor errors and varieties sell for. What can you find out there in the wild today? Now, a lot of the coins that you're going to see here is quite a variance. There's going to be coins that you could honestly find just going through Pocket Change, or maybe going to the bank and picking up some of these wrapped rolls. Again, it's an activity called coin roll hunting. Everybody loves doing it, and it is the cheapest, greatest way to add to your collection, or to make some great supplemental income. As we've seen, a lot of folks have taken advantage of that opportunity to play with house money. But in addition, there are folks that actually like to go to the local coin shops or a regional show or a national show and cherry pick some coins there as well. And the idea is that you're going to look through dealer stock, you're going to identify maybe a minor error variety that dealers don't personally care for, and you can cherry pick that for whatever a non-variety or error would go for. And then, you could elect to add it to your collection. That's a great way to enhance that. But also to resell. I do know of a number of people that actually scour through dealer stock and they check out all of the shows nearest them for doing just a thing. All right. So, yeah, that's another great, of course, thing to do out there. But, without letting you guys wait too much longer, we're going to go ahead and dive in to the first set of coins. We actually have a really big show for you. We got 35 coins and or currency pieces to talk about. Just a phenomenal mix. A lot of new stuff too. 2021 Lincoln cents continue to amaze. I know people are kind of hung up on finding like brand new 2022s. Yeah, but don't overlook 2021s. If they are out there, pick those up. There's a lot of value to be found in not only Lincoln cents, but quarters as well. But yeah, pretty crazy. So we're going to be using all, of course, the eBay sellers' respective images, so you'll get the best and worst of these folks that sell these coins. And you might even get a little bit of a photography lesson out of this particular video. So always some good stuff. Let's go ahead and jump right into the first set of coins. We actually have a pair of coins to kick things off. We have a 1964 Jefferson nickel and a 1983 P Kennedy half dollar. The Kennedy half dollar at first glance look like it has something going on with it, but believe it or not, these two coins have the exact same error. All right, you're going to have to keep an eye out for these, especially for all you half dollar roll hunters out there that's just looking for silver. Let this be a reminder that there's a lot more out there that's worth more than silver to find. So what do we have here? Well, first of all, the nickel, we do have a what appears to be a partial tilted collar. All right, so the collar is a round flange that actually holds the coin in during the strike. So when that's tilted or not engaged at all, it really sets the coin and the strike up to be something quite funky. And in this particular case, the collar was tilted a little bit. So when you have that, you also have this kind of like stepped railroaded edge here. It's kind of like how it's been referred to. But also on the Candy half dollar, you have that same anomaly going on. Now, what's cool here is that the Candy half dollars have that reeded edge, so it's pretty easy to see when one indeed does exhibit this tilted collar effect. You're going to get half of the reeds on the edge, and then also a raised feature that looks like a railroad tie, or not a tie, but a railroad track. Yeah, there's no mistaking exactly what this particular error is, and there's also another obverse image of that Candy half dollar, usually with partial tilted collars. The coins will have kind of an off-center effect to it, which is quite normal. The coin might appear to be off-center struck, like the Candy half dollar in this case certainly exhibits that. This one ended up selling for $25.26 with 12 bids. So, maybe if you split it, $15 for the half dollar, $10 for the nickel. I mean, certainly that's quite a bit of money to leave on the table if you just threw them back into circulation. Now here's a really cool dime. This one right here, of course, has no date. This is your prototypical struck through capped die, but it's an early enough state where you get some of the brockage on there, and that's just you have some of the design details from that cap that's transferred onto the host coin. In this case here, this is a later stage brockage because all of that reverse details as it's being smushed, I guess. Not really the technical term, but as it strikes more coins, the design details on that die cap will begin to kind of wear down a little bit. But here, later stage brockage on this one. This one ended up selling for $61.97, and that's with 19 bids. That's a pretty good amount of money. And again, these will sneak up on you as you go through change. Make sure you pull them out. Now here's a pretty decent 1984 Lincoln Memorial cent. This one is struck off center, I would say probably 10-12%. It's got a full date, and that's what matters to collectors of this type. So if you do have some of these, or you do come across it, keep in mind that these full dated, if it has a mint mark, that's a huge plus as well. These full dated off-center struck coins are desirable because they're being collected by date. So anytime you come across one of these, that's quite the gem. This particular example is in pretty decent shape too. It's got a nice mint state appearance to it with a little bit of staining and carbon spotting, which is par for the course for these earlier Zinkins. This one hammered for $39.80. So that's not nothing. That's a pretty good return on something like this. We have a couple Eisenhower dollars, and they're not like glamour queen, examples out there in the marketplace. I mean, this bicentennial, this is also a Denver minted 76 Ike dollar, looks to have circulated quite a bit. You have all sorts of marks and nicks all over the place. So there's really no mistaking this for a mid-state edition of the coin, but it has a very shallow clip, as you can see right here under the date. It's almost ragged in nature, or maybe straight, but you do also have that Blakesley effect right here above the R, and that's just the general flattening of that particular rim area as the metal flow goes up into that area. It doesn't fill up the rim area all the way over there. But pretty cool coin. This one ended up selling early this morning, so I think it probably undersold by a few bucks, but it did realize $11.09 with 2 bids. Keeping in mind that these obsolete, bigger, funky coins like the Eisenhower dollar, and maybe you can even throw in the Susan B. Anthony in the mix, but these oddball kind of coins with these errors are quite desirable. And just make sure you keep that in mind as you're searching through. Plus, it's a bicentennial. Those naturally have more desirability because of what they are. They are literally a one-shot circulation commemorative that people do still collect to this day. And here's also the other Ike dollar from the same seller with a kind of a similar type of clip right here between the B and E and Liberty. And again, you know, it doesn't look like much. And, you know, generally these would be overlooked, although this coin is in really nice shape. This is a really nice, I would say, mid-state graded coin. This one ended up selling for a few bucks more at $13.09. With 2 bids, keep in mind when you are selling your coins, make sure the end time for these coins is going to be a desirable time of the day. Now, some would say make sure your listings end on a Friday night or a Sunday night. That necessarily doesn't need to happen. It just has to sell maybe at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, your time, whatever that is. But make sure it does not end, like, say, overnight or too late in the evening or too early in the day. You just won't get the amount of activity and bids on those particular coins. And oftentimes you'll miss out on a really good sale price. But $13.09 for this one. All right, so we're on to our featured coin. I mean, who would have guessed that a 2021 Lincoln Shield Cent would be the featured coin of any PCMR within the last, like, 90 days? I mean, shoot, the coin has been firing on all cylinders, but mostly the Philadelphia minted coins is where it's at. You know, the retain cud die break coin, that's been like lighting up the market. And by the way, it's starting to thin out there. There's not too many examples for sale. But how about we throw in a few varieties in the mix? All right, this first one right here is a new doubled die obverse, and this is one that you guys should be looking for. Now, even before I show you guys the close-ups of this particular variety, I mean, check out Liberty. Notice how it starts out skinny letters and it gets a lot fatter. Yeah, that's going to be something that you would be able to see a little bit better, of course, if you had a magnifier. Again, a jeweler's loupe or a magnifier is one of the most important tools to have as a hunter of such coins. So make sure you have them. If you don't, I have them down below in my description box. Amazon affiliate listings. I do get paid a little bit. Not a whole lot to really write home to mother about, but, you know, there are inexpensive tools of the trade that you can pick up in those listings there I have for you. But really cool variety right here. I believe this might be, and it's not on Chuck Daughtry's site, coppercoins.com, nor is it in the Wexler's files. Not yet. Wexler, of course, is going through some health issues, but he does have someone helping him list these. But this one right here is probably DDO number 2 or 3. I've seen number 1 before, and the thickness in the letters isn't like this. It's more a lot thinner in nature, but this is a really nice doubled die right here. And again, you're going to want to look at Liberty. It starts out skinny here on LIB, and it gets progressively thicker as you get to the last few letters of Liberty. I think this is a class 9, by the way, so it's not one that's going to knock your socks off. Again, you know, that's kind of like the byproduct of the single squeeze press era of these coins, or the dies rather. But yeah, just a really cool variety. And on to 2021. You're not going to believe this. This one ended up selling for $36 through 5 bids. So effectively, any premier example of this coin, and as long as you're able to take really good images of them, will sell for 25 bucks or more. You know, consider the fact that the next example that comes to the marketplace will sell for a little bit less than this one. You know, but there's going to be kind of like a really strong price level that these will settle at, and that's right around 25 bucks. So another good one to look out for. Make sure you are checking out all the bases on these brand new 2021s while they're still out there before the 2022s flood the circulation. All right, we got our first paper money listing here. How about this funky looking $20 bill? This is a 1985 series small head. Haven't seen one of these in a while, but yeah, we have an inverted third print. So your district seals and serial numbers and all that are upside down, but also at the same token, the note is miscut as well. It always seems to be that inverted print and miscuts seem to go together, and I think that has a lot to do with the placement of the sheets, because I think they cut these as a full stack of sheets, kind of like, you know, what they do in the print industry. And, you know, there might be a sheet that's inverted, and the crop marks and all that are going to be different. So these are not completely perfectly centered onto a sheet, all 32 that is. But this is just generally a really, really visually stunning note. Cannot believe that this thing is not graded. There's a reverse, again, helping support the miscut on this one. You even have just a little bit of a sliver of the next note on that subject sheet. This one ended up selling for $608, which is very strong money for an inverted third print. I've seen these sell for generally $300 to $500 raw, if you could find them, although this one is a really nice shape. It looks like it does have a center fold that has happened on there at one point. Yeah, I can't even believe someone folded this thing in half because it sticks out like a sore thumb. $608 for this. Here's a 2003 P Roosevelt dime. All right, a rather modern coin, you know, in the annals of U.S. coins, but this particular coin right here, off center by just a little bit, maybe 10% at the most, sold for $20.49. So make sure you're looking out for these. They will appear just a slightly bigger than a standard Roosevelt dime. Now here's the other big currency selection for this particular episode. We have a 1977 $10 bill. The front of the note looks fantastic. It looks just about gem fresh crisp, as you would want it. You would want a high grade note. But what do we have here with this one? Nothing looks out of place. There's no mismatched serial number or anything like that to speak of. But hey, they forgot to print the back print on the note. Yeah. This is actually a common date for this particular error. I've seen a few of them for the 77, not only $10 bills, but also, I believe, the $5 bills. There have been a number of blank backs that have entered the marketplace. They just forgot to put that second print on there. This one ended up selling for $332. All right, so our non-error, non-variety selection of this particular episode is going to be a 69S Lincoln Memorial Cent. Now, I wonder why this one's here. Maybe because it has some pretty mad machine doubling on there. You could just, yeah, pretty easy to see. These, for whatever reason, has a niche secondary market out there. That people just want them, you know, and I guess the higher the grade, the better. This is really dynamite close-up images, by the way, of the date and mint mark. With machine doubling, again, it's neither an error or variety. So there are professionals in the industry that say that this would be an error. So that this is like really up in the air. We don't know. But when you have an example that's as dramatic as this, and of course, you know, it's a 69S. You know, if it's not the big dog FS 101, might as well go for this, right? I mean, I own a few myself, but never in my wildest imagination would I entertain selling it, only because of the principle of it. You know, it's not an error or variety. And, you know, there are people that have just capitalized on the marketability of this coin, you know, whatever your stance is on MD. This one ended up selling for $29.95. I've seen the 69S machine double coin, similar to this, that's probably just a slightly better condition coin, sell for about $1,000. And I'd have to say that was about 2 years ago, and that was organically bid up to that level. So pretty crazy world we live in, where things like this has a pretty deep secondary market. Now, proof coins are a hotbed of all sorts of really neat stuff to find. If you are not opposed to looking through proof sets, I know it doesn't excite a lot of people, but proof set coins are generally crafted to be a presentation quality masterpiece. You would say that they're probably white gloved, when they assembled these sets together. So finding any error at all in these sets is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but that is also where the secondary market loves error proof coins. The 64 nickel right here is indeed a proof coin. I was going to say special mint set, but this one has a little squiggly strike through. It could be, maybe a bristle from a brush that they use to clean the machinery. It could be anything. It could be a fiber, a cloth fiber, or something to that effect. But yeah, that is indeed a strike through there. And these little squiggly strike throughs on these early 60s proof coins are not rare at all. Yet this one is sitting here on eBay that has managed to sell for $13.74. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of the math. So you buy this particular proof set, 64, so it's going to have 90% silver in there, for right around 25 to 30 bucks. The nickel out of the set, if you had broken the set, generally sells for about $1. So this one sold for over $13. I'd say that was a pretty good return on this one. And then you have all of the other coins as kind of a bonus, like the Kennedy and the dime and the quarter. Those are all 90% silver. So make sure you double check all of your proof sets and special mint sets as well. These will pop up when you least expect them. Here's a pretty good, if not very common variety. It's a 54, wheat cent. This is the S over S RPM. It's also RPM number 4 in the Wechsler files. But this one right here, you can see that secondary top loop of the S is north of the primary. All right, so a funny one here. The S mint mark is just about directly south of the 5 in this one. So that's going to be one of those kind of like markers to look out for. It's just the placement of the mint mark on this one. This one sold for $8.49. Again, very, very common RPM to look for. And here's our good old standby, Washington crossing the Delaware. Again, a coin that has certainly made lots of headlines last year, and we're still talking about it 2 months into the new year. This one does have a medium progression of that crown die chip. We're seeing less of the big formed late stage chip, which I affectionately refer to as the hamburger crown because it looks like a burger. It really does. But this is kind of like that middle progression state. It's a nice, good-sized die chip right on top of Washington's hat on the reverse. And this one sold, still strong seller at $37.70. Now this one's pretty neat. 1989p Jefferson nickel. This one is a pretty well broad struck example. So that collar was not engaged at all during the strike. So the metal flow goes outwards. This coin probably is closer to the size of a quarter. And it's in really nice shape. So for someone that's looking for one of these, they did buy this one for $30. Now, I love coins like this because it doesn't matter the overall technical grade of them. They will have some personality, and other collectors will see that and share in that same sentiment with you. This is a 1929 beater Lincoln wheat cent. As you can see, it's got some annealing issues. There's some delamination on there, and there's also some on the obverse as well. Lots of flaking going on here. This one sold for $7.99 with 2 bids. So there was some activity for a well-worn coin. I would have to say this is probably one of my favorites of this particular episode. This is an old, probably 60, 70-year-old bear paw mining ingot. This is a poured bar. It's been beat up a little bit. I would say, call me crazy, this one probably was used as a doorstop. I've seen it before. These great big 50, 100 ounce bullion coin or bullion bread loaves or pours or whatever you want to label them as. The more vintage, the better. And people have really stepped up on the collectability side of these to where they're paying many more times what the melt value is of such items. Now, on the back of this this pour, it's 25.95 ounces. So it's a rather unconventional size for a ingot like this. Normally I see like 50 ounces, I've seen 75, I've seen 100. But this one here at almost 26 ounces is a little bit funky, and I think that's why people love it. Surprisingly, it's sold for $1,558.50, which is many more times than what the silver melt value of it. But again, it's less to do with the actual silver melt value. It's more shifted toward the collectability and the vintage of such items. You know, you will walk into a coin shop and there are some dealers that don't know what they have, especially in their just bulk silver kind of like inventory. You'll come across something like this or an old Royal Canadian Mint bar, things like that. They're worth probably 3-4x what their silver melt value is. So that's something to keep in mind as you're going through, looking through these vintage silver bars and rounds and stuff like that. There's a lot more, I guess, numismatic premium that's associated with such items. Here's a 25S Buffalo nickel with the good old standard lamination on the obverse. This is a common event on a lot of earlier Buffaloes going all the way up into the 30s. Again, U.S. Mint had annealing issues with these planchets back in the day. This one sold for $19.99. Coin is pretty rough regardless, even though it's what I consider to be a semi-key date. Now this is a cool one right here, and I actually like this one. It's a very much problem-free example. I would say it's a net VG8. You do have a few letters of Liberty that's on the headdress, but it's an 1867 over 67 repunched date. There's a little bit of a close-up. You could see the top curl of the 6 and the top portion of the 7 poking through there. It's one of your marquee repunch dates for the Indian Head Scent series, and this is a good one to look out for. This one sold for $219.99. Again, not too bad considering it's a problem-free VG level coin. Now here's a 2001 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This time it's a rather minor broadstrike. So I'm sure a lot of people have probably passed over a coin like this because it's not big and broad and in your face as like say that nickel we saw a few minutes ago. But another good one, rather clean, nice mid-state example with some luster on there. Sold for $22.94. I think it's a pretty good example if you need it for like a date set of broad strikes or various errors. This is a good one to have. All right, so I looked at this $50 bill for probably a good solid like 3-4 minutes because I like it. This is an older small head 1981 crazy looking note that features a number of gutter folds on there, and finding more than one gutter fold is special when it comes to this type of error. And we have a number of them, 3 or 4 of them to be exact, and the sheet at one point had a number of wrinkles that weren't stretched out before the note was printed. So you're going to get things like this where you have that obvious, the gutter area that used to be a wrinkle was closed up and then printed over, so you're going to have an omission of print in those areas. And then it's also seen on the back as well. So yeah, the sheet never got reconciled to fix this issue, obviously. So it turned into a rather dramatic error. So the more gutters, the better. This one realized $292.87 with 45 bids. And that's probably 3 times what the normal sale price for gutter folds are because they are one of the more common errors to find out there. All right. So I'm going to say this. I'm hoping one of my viewers picked this up because this was beyond a screaming deal. Let's say, for argument's sake, that you don't keep any of these coins in this lot and you flipped every single one of them. You'll probably be close to 3xing your money. That's how cheap this lot of Cud Lincoln cents had sold for. Now, I'm going to tell you what the amount is here in a second, but it's a 7-coin lot. Each and every single coin has some sort of Cud die break, all right? And it's mostly relegated to the base area of Lincoln's bust, as you can see. We have a 43S, steel sand, couple 44s, looks like 1920, a 40S, a 45, and a 64D for extra measure. You know, a more modern memorial back design. There's the backs of them that steel sand is just trashed. It's got some rust on there, but it'll still sell. Generally, these coins will fetch anywhere from $30 to $50 a piece. I want you guys to keep that figure in your mind because there is an opportunity to make $200 to $300 here on this lot. But get this. This one ended up selling for how much? $119.02 with 8 bids. I believe this was a late night sale, so that's why it didn't realize its full potential. But hey, if you could buy this and flip every single coin in the lot and make about, 1.5 to 2 times your money, I mean, there are worse things that could happen. But again, I tell folks, look out for these bargain lots because you'll find little gems like these. And it could be a good opportunity for you to turn a good profit. So there you go. And, you could probably say the same for this. Now, this is a lot of off-center struck coins, from a few pennies to a nickel, a few dimes, a few quarters. I mean, this is a really good mix here. Apparently, the seller just found it a little bit more valuable to sell it as a lot rather than selling each coin individually. Just so it's a quicker sale and it's easier to pack. But the dimes have full dates on them, so there is that. The top left dime there is a lot more attractive in my eyes, but they're all pretty cool. The backs of them, all in really good shape. These are damn near all mint state examples, and that is a huge hot button. This ended up selling for $162.50 with 7 bids. So I still think with 8 coins here, there is some opportunity to make a few bucks. Not quite the level to the previous lot, but you could probably make $60 after fees and whatnot on this particular lot because the quarters and all that stuff are gonna sell for $30-$40 really easily. All right, we do have a few cuts. We didn't talk a lot about it other than that lot, but how about a singular loan 1984? This one has a cut right over Liberty. And I think the seller even states it's even got a little bit of a rotated die error as well. The pictures weren't fantastic, but you can see that cut anomaly on the obverse there, along with a little bit of the weakness on the reverse right above United. This one sold for $45. Not too bad. And in case you're wondering, it was imaged in a 2x2 holder, and there was a little bit of like Sharpie ink that did go over the plastic and not the coin. Just so you guys are aware, I did look at that and, have come to the determination that's what it is. And here's another one here, this time on a 77. I like this one. This is a good looking coin. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to know? A piece of the die had fallen off, and then when it strikes its host coin, it's going to show up as a blob, a raised area on the coin. Of course, all the metal flow is going into that area, which develops a really nice sized blob of metal in relief there. This one sold for $54 with 5 bids. Man, Cuds are on fire right now. Here's a pretty grand 1996 P Jefferson nickel with a huge curved clip along with some Blakesley effect action. This is a great looking coin, really nice condition. That sold for $42, which is a really good amount of money for this. And then from the same seller, he or she also had this one here off center by about 20-25%. Jefferson nickel, unfortunately, doesn't have a date, and that does affect the value of it. This one sold for $11.29 with, well, 15 bids. So people were nickel and diming this thing all the way up to that amount. All right, so this is a rather minor coin, but it packs a load of value. It's a 1984D Lincoln Memorial Cent. You could find something like this on a myriad of different coins and denominations. This one has a little bit of what they call a rim cud. So a rim cud is, of course, isolated right onto the rim. It doesn't go into the devices like a standard cud would. But do not overlook things like these. These are actually quite common. And again, they're loaded with value, in comparison to the face value of the coin. This one sold for $13.57 with 3 bids. All right, guys, sorry about this one. It's a really out of focus Lincoln wheat cent that's off center by about 60%, but it also has a number of digs right here. So this is a damaged coin, in spite of the fact that it is in nice shape overall as far as its mid-state kind of like grade. But it has no date, but it really doesn't matter. This one did rake in $59.88, 22 bids. I mean, that's a pretty healthy market for a coin like this with a little bit of damage on there. Now this one's neat, coming courtesy of Jim, our good old boy Jim on eBay, continuing to sell and sling some of the greatest varieties I've seen in quite a while. He goes through a lot of BU rolls, and he found another good one here. This is a 1970D Roosevelt dime. This is, believe it or not, a very substantial doubled die reverse. Keep an eye out for this one. It's a good one. And here are a few close-ups on what you're going to look for. You're going to see the splits on each of the letters on the reverse. United States of America. You also have some notching in certain areas of some of these letters. And then I think this is pretty cool. Your flame on top of the torch is going to have doubled licks on there. So those flame licks are doubled as well, along with the olive tree leaf or the oak leaf right there. Also has a bit of doubling. Now this is the FS801. This is a Cherry Picker's Guide variety, and it's sold for $39.90. Well, another lamination, this time on a 59D Memorial Cent. You can see it there on the obverse. This one, surprisingly, brought home $25.50 with 11 bids. I've come to find out that laminations like this on the memorial side of the series are a little bit more scarce, and that's why they command this kind of money. And then here's a 46D as well, another solid seller. This one sold for $33 with 15 bids. Laminations, for whatever reason, are starting to heat up in the marketplace, but they, even I still think that they're a bottom of the barrel error to find out there. And for the longest time, you were having a hard time trying to get $5-10 for these coins, but they've all of a sudden seen some interest that is fantastic for the market. All right, so I'm going to need your guys' opinion. This is a tough one. Personally, I don't think these were worth the amount of money that this particular example sold for. This is a 2021 Denver. Oh yeah, Denver. You guys know there's been a myriad of production issues on the Denver minted Morgan dollars from last year's US Mint release. This one, you probably already see it. Yeah, check out that die crack that goes from the rim through the Owen dollar, through the mid mark, and into the bottom part of the wreath, and that's where it sticks. All right, it's not a true rim-to-rim die crack. This part is isolated just to the wreath. Pretty crazy considering it's a modern U.S. minted commemorative coin. But here's the thing. It's not graded. This thing is not graded, and some have reported that these particular coins sent to graders are coming back damaged, details damaged, graded. But this is a legitimate U.S. Mint error. This particular one right here sold for $909.95. The question begs, was it worth $900? Me personally, no. I don't think it's worth this kind of money. I do know of a few people that have found this particular coin with this die crack, especially on Facebook. A number of people have posted this. $900. Let me get your guys' take on this one. All right, we do have a few really nice selections from our good old Mr. Fred Weinberg. He's the king of error coins. Even has his own website. Go ahead and check it out, Fred Weinberg. But this is a 1983p Washington quarter with, count them, 1, 2, 3 curved clips on there. Just a beautiful example. Again, the more clips on the coin, the better for its value. This one ended up selling for $70.46 with 24 bits. Now, this one right here is ridiculous, considering that the two clips just perfectly are set to either side of the date. You can still tell what the date is along with the mid mark. This is a 1980p Washington quarter. This is what I like to call the two-clipped coin that looks like a pair of boxer briefs. Call me strange, but yeah, this is a tighty-whitey if I ever saw one. This one ended up selling for $40 with 12 bids. This is a pretty cool coin. It's in really nice shape. This one was probably found in an old sealed bank bag long ago. And then the final stunner of the day, again from Mr. Weinberg, is going to be, guess what, one of my favorites, a bicentennial quarter error. And this one has all the cake and you can eat it too. It's a off-center struck coin. Beautiful, beautiful example. It's in really good shape. There is a few little, kind of like little nicks and stuff in the rim area and here on the fields and then on the actual portrait of Washington. But you guys know my stance. Bicentennial quarter errors are something to behold, and the marketplace knows this. A lot of these coins sell for a lot more than other dates of the same type of error. This one right here, no exception, sold for $140.56 with 40 bids. People were chomping at the bit to put their bid in on this one. A lot of bids, a lot of activity, lots of interest in these bicentennial errors. But boys and girls, coinaholics of all ages, that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Would love to hear your thoughts. What'd you think about that 2021 Morgan dollar? Was it worth all that in a bag of chips? Again, myself personally, no, not even close. Did you guys have a favorite coin this week? We talked about a lot of new stuff, which is nice. I love highlighting new stuff on these videos. Make sure you check out your 2021 Lincolns for not only the error retained cut coins and cracks and whatnot, but also for these brand new double the dies. I think there's like 3 or 4 attributed. They just haven't been uploaded to the respective attribution sites yet. But that's it, guys. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to do those 3 things on screen. I will love you long time. You know the drill. We are discovering together every single day. You know it. Best of luck in your hunts, and I'll see you on the next coin video. Take care.